China and India each have pros and each have cons. There are differences when it comes to outsourcing to India versus outsourcing to China.
By 2001, 2002, the whole Indian outsourcing industry, the offshore outsourcing industry, exploded and grew enormously from about 2002 to the present. They've been in the outsourcing industry for 10 years.
Today, when you look at the China market, for example, and potentially the India market, which is more mature though compared to China, there would be sufficient human capital, but what you need is to develop more skills in the project management area in China particularly, and you also need to develop more domain knowledge, for example, across different industries like financial services, insurance, and healthcare.
China, which is emerging, there's not as many, the availability of project managers or senior architects that have 7 or 10 years of experience in global delivery just isn't there. You know, on the other hand, it's just a matter of time. Over the next 2, 3, 4, 5 years, that gap begins to significantly reduce.
And it's going to take time to do that. The Indian firms have done quite well developing those skills over the last 20 years, and I presume China will, on a fast cycle, catch up relatively quickly over the next 3 to 5 years in a number of areas in different industries.
In India, many of the clients that we deal with today that have used India in the past are challenged with turnover in India. There seems to be a high degree of turnover in India. The rupee is appreciating at a fairly rapid rate, closer to 15% a year. They've had very high inflation rates. And the infrastructure in India isn't typically a strong capability.
If you look at China compared to India, if you go and you fly into Beijing or Shanghai or Dalian or Guangzhou or Shenzhen or wherever you might go, phenomenal infrastructure, not only around the airports, in the airports, the technology, but also if you look at the highways and transportation, trains, it's phenomenal.
The areas that India seems to perform a little better right now in, as opposed to China, is the communication in the spoken English language, and also in this perception around IP protection. Those are two areas that China has made great strides in over the past few years, but it still has a long way to go to reach the levels of acceptability in the U.S. And those are some of the challenges that I face and my team faces on a day-to-day basis when we're out promoting China-based outsourcing services. When you look at the outsourcing industry today as a whole, again, the numbers can vary, but it's between $25 and a $35 billion industry, where 85% goes to India today, a staggering amount of money and market share going to India today. If you look at China, arguably $3 to $5 billion is being outsourced to China today.
New countries are starting to emerge as the new alternative destinations to India. It's our belief, in fact, that China will emerge as the next major outsourcing destination in addition to India. But there's other countries as well. Certainly there's countries in Eastern Europe, elsewhere in Asia, as well as South America, that are poised to be players in the outsourcing marketplace.
My philosophy is you have always to learn. And outsourcing business is also a learning business. You have to learn our customer, not learning and not to learn the technical skills, but also the cultures, the business model. That's also the fun of this business.